Hey guys, welcome to the first video on StriberTube Wrestling. Thanks for checking out the channel. If you like wrestling videos on games and wrestling in general, and wanted to learn about my time in the wrestling ring, stick around, consider subscribing, and leaving a like. Now, in today's video, I want to go over a couple things I would like to see, hopefully, features in WWE 2K22. Since it's going to be revealed hopefully tomorrow, and then I'm guessing the features will be rolled out over the next few months, unless it comes out within like a couple weeks, which would be awesome. Anyway, so just to give a little history, I have played pretty much every single wrestling game since the PS1 generation. So your SmackDowns, your No Mercies, your WCWs, I've been around for a while, and your Fire Pros, everything. I'm a huge wrestling fan, and I kind of fell off the bandwagon. This was the last generation because there's no wrestling games. I mean, it's either WWE 2K or nothing. There really wasn't much else, and if there was something else, it was so unpolished. It just But good news. There's a bunch of wrestling games in the works, and they all look amazing. They're all coming out, and a few have just come out too. So there's Action Arcade Wrestling, there's Retromania, there's all sorts of stuff. So it looks like wrestling games are on the rise again, and it makes me super excited, and that's why I made this channel. So the first thing I would like to see in the next wrestling game, the WWE 2K22, is a bunch of new creation parts. If you're like me, I like making fantasy stuff, not necessarily real wrestlers. I like coming up with my whole entire universe and my own. I have like this entire cast of wrestlers I've made since I was a kid, and I would love to have more parts so I can make more wrestlers. I'm not very good at doing stuff on the computer, so making up like actual characters on a, let's say, like DAS Studio or something. I've been experimenting with that, but basically game design. I would love to be able to do that, but I just don't have the time right now with my current job and stuff. So I would love to have, like, in the original games, there were so many creation parts. There was like knight armor. You could give them like a freakishly huge arm and all sorts of stuff. I want tons of parts, like thousands. And if you can't get them all out by launch, just keep adding them, and I will buy every single creation part you make. One thing with creation parts, please don't make them unlockables. Just make wrestlers unlockables. Every creation part should be available the second you start the game. I hate having to unlock creation parts because it just bugs crap out of me. And in 2K22 or 2K20, they had a bunch of parts locked behind getting prestige rank online, which I'm not going to play online. I don't care about online. But that's me. Next thing I would like to see is a music/theme maker. You can pretty much make everything else in this game. I'm curious why we haven't been able to make our own entrance music. It could be this short little sound bit that just repeats. That's like, 30 seconds to a minute long. That's almost original wrestling themes are, unless it's like a song. They can make it so you can import your own music. I'm sure people would abuse that, but I mean like an actual music generator thing where you change the dials and get different bleeps and bloops. With next gen here, I think the new systems would be able to handle it, and that'd be super fun and make it way more. People would actually want to watch the entrances instead of skipping them, because I can guarantee you 90% of players just skip the entrances. So that's another cool thing I'd like to see. Another thing I would like to see for Universe Mode is online co-op. So either with at least one other buddy, you and your buddy can just play Universe Mode together. That would be super fun. Rather than just competitively, you can like have a tag team division. It'd be really cool if you could have a big group of friends just play through Universe Mode. That'd be super fun. Because then you can have all sort of shenanigans. Let's see here. Looking at my notes. Another thing I would like to see return is full body customization. In the original games, you could make one arm tiny, one arm gigantic, and the game would just, it had like a base wireframe, and that's what all the moves were done to. So I want to be able to make freaks again. It was fun. You can make like Frankenstein's monster. You can make all sorts of stuff. I hate not having full body customization because what's there is like super generic, or it's like you're either super jacked, slightly fat, or a beanpole or something. It's just, give me full. I want to make like dragons and stuff. That would be cool too. Anyway, so I would like the full body morphing thing to come back. Now this is a feature I thought I heard in a post, or like when they were doing one of their polls or whatever, is having your creations carry over to the next game. Imagine how cool that would be, not having to start over every year. I mean, they can make it to where if, let's say, a certain creation part isn't there, it just deletes it off the character, right? Or if, they can make it to where you only have to redo your moves every year and your entrances based off of what they add and take away. But having to create a character from scratch every year is kind of a pain. Because for me, I make tons of characters, so the first month I'm making all my characters before I actually get to enjoy any of the modes, because I don't want to play as the main roster. No knock on the actual performers, but I can just watch them on TV. I don't really want to play as them. I'd rather play as my own characters. But that's just me. For another thing I'd like to see is the pinning and submission systems need to complete overhaul. In my opinion, I think it'd be much better for the pinning system to be a button combination instead of that, like a golf game where you have to hit it on the dial right at the perfect timing. I mean, if you're playing online against somebody and there's lag, you could lose within 5 seconds because the timing is impossible to predict. So that needs to change. And the whole moving the joysticks to try to find where the escape point is kind of annoying too. I think just button combinations, at least to have that as an option, because I think that would be much, much better. I think I mentioned this already. 0 creation parts locked on launch day. I want everything available right out of the gate. If you want to put stuff as unlockables, make it wrestlers or old wrestler attires. Don't make it the creation parts, please. Heck, you can even have moves locked. Just not the parts, for the love of God. Another thing I would like to see is them to bring back old match types, like the Inferno match, the Casket match, and yes, the Bras and Panties match. However, with the current climate, if they did that, the game would be crucified, and yeah, so unfortunately that wouldn't work, but those old matches were pretty fun if you think about it, especially the Casket match. I think that was awesome. Let's see here, turning the page, looking at my notes. Oh, and I forgot about this part. Bring back the filters from, like, the overall filters from 2K19. They had like a cartoon looking filter that made it kind of look like Borderlands, but slightly more vibrant. I would love that. Have like an anime filter where it turns all your characters into anime characters with the big googly eyes and stuff. That would be hilarious. They have like an 8-bit filter and stuff like that, but it makes it impossible to play. But just go nuts with that. Like have black and white filter, which I think is in it actually. But you know what I mean. Like just go nuts with that. I mean, the power of the next gen consoles and current PCs should be able to handle that. Because then it kind of changes like the entire game. It's like, do you want a cartoony game? Do you want a realistic game? Heck, they could even have a sci-fi filter. I don't know how that would work, but that would be cool. And then the last thing I would like to see, off the top of my mind, because... Oh wait, there's two more things. The next thing I'd like to see is be able to select a preset voice for each one of your creations. So let's say they're in a match or in universe mode, and they have dialogue, kind of like in an RPG. You can set it to where they have all this pre-spoken dialogue or whatever, and you can kind of like I think Mass Effect did that. You pick a voice or whatever, and that's your character's voice for the story mode. That would be so cool, because then you could just do it that way. And then if let's say you play universe mode or any other mode, your character would talk. I mean, how cool would that be? And then if they really wanted to go nuts, you could be able to record your own voice and do that. But then people would abuse it and curse, but you see where I'm getting at here. And the last thing I would like to see, but even though the world of wrestling doesn't work like that, what I would love to see is men versus women back again, like a fighting game. They used to treat wrestling games like fighting games. So let's say Mortal Kombat, Soul Calibur, or whatever, you can fight men versus women. In the world of wrestling, most of the men are so huge that would be completely unfair. That's probably why they stopped doing it. Plus, they don't want to teach children. It's all about the children. They don't want to teach children to beat up on women or whatever. But I used to wrestle in the indies, and I gotta tell you, those women are tough, and they hit harder than the men. So, yeah. It'd be cool to do that again. Just for the sake of having, like mixed tag. If you accidentally hit the woman, you're disqualified. It's like, well, but she punched me, but the women can hit the men. Anyway, I don't get into a big debate about that. I just think it'd be cool to make it more of like a fighting game rather than this and that. Kind of splits the roster in half. This half of the roster can only do this, and this half of the roster can only do that. Anyway, I just think that would be really cool. And thank you for watching the first video on my new channel. If you like the content, consider subscribing. What are some things you want to see in 2K22? And holy crap, CM Punk is back. What a time to be a wrestling fan. As always, thanks for watching, and stay frosty.